All right, ready to dive in? Today, we are looking at something we use every single day,
Every single day. Yep.
but don't always think that much about
Right?
the English language.
Fascinating stuff.
We've got this super interesting conversation we're going to be pulling from
Okay.
as our source material,
Sound good.
and it explores all sorts of really cool stuff like
Right.
why English spelling is so,
Oh,
let's just say, unique,
unique is a good word for it.
and how the internet is like rapidly changing
It's crazy.
how we speak and use language.
It really is.
Yeah, it's really something.
It is fascinating how much we just take language for granted,
Totally.
you know?
Yeah.
It's always evolving.
It is.
It's almost like this
About a living.
organism.
Yes.
It breathes and changes.
It really does. And English especially
Oh, absolutely.
has this crazy history.
Yeah.
It's like this linguistic melting pot.
I'm at melting pot.
Yeah, borrowing from all these different sources.
I know, right?
I was reading that even Sanskrit words
Sanskrit.
like karma,
oh, wow.
yoga,
Yeah.
and nirvana
Yeah.
are commonly used in English now.
Huh. That is really interesting.
Isn't that wild?
Yeah, I mean, it is a great example of how languages reflect cultural exchange.
It is.
And, given your interest in
Oh, thanks.
Eastern philosophy and mindfulness,
I do love those things.
it's really intriguing to think about how those concepts, like,
Yeah.
entered the English lexicon and just became, like,
So ingrained.
so ingrained in our everyday conversations.
Yeah, totally.
It's amazing.
Really shows you just how language and culture.
They're so connected.
Yeah, they are.
They're like two sides of the same coin.
They're intertwined. Totally.
Absolutely.
But let's be honest.
Okay.
Sometimes that history just leads to some really bizarre
Oh, yeah.
spelling rules.
Like what?
I mean, like, why are there so many silent letters in English?
Yeah, it's true.
Like night.
Oh, night. Yeah.
Right. It makes no sense.
It's enough to make your head spin.
Totally.
Well, you can blame the Norman scribes for that.
Norman script.
Yeah, so after the Norman conquest back in 1066,
Oh, wow.
they brought over their French spelling conventions to English.
Okay.
And even though the way we pronounce words has evolved over time,
Yeah.
a lot of those old spellings, they
stuck around.
stuck around. Yeah,
They persisted.
they did. So
Wow.
blame those Normans.
So we're dealing with the consequences of this.
Little linguistic clash from centuries ago.
Centuries ago?
Yeah,
That's crazy.
it really is. But it's interesting, though, right?
It is.
Like how these historical events continue to shape
They're like ripples.
the language that we use today.
Totally.
Absolutely.
It's wild.
It is. And it's not just about spelling.
What else?
Um, think about the Great Vowel Shift.
The great vowel shift.
Yeah, a major pronunciation upheaval
Okay.
that happened between the 15th and 18th centuries.
Okay, so this is where
This is where it gets good.
things get really interesting for me.
Yeah.
Are you telling me that if I could hear how people spoke back then,
Yeah.
it would sound
Completely different.
completely different? Like
Right.
Shakespeare wouldn't even recognize his own plays.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
Wow.
Imagine trying to read Shakespeare as it was originally pronounced.
I can't even fathom.
It would be mind-blowing.
It would sound like a foreign language.
Almost.
Yeah.
So the Great Vowel Shift really changed the sounds of vowels.
Okay.
Like dramatically.
Oh, wow.
So like the word name,
Yeah.
for example, would have sounded more like name.
Yeah. But,
And house
okay.
would have rhymed with moose.
Wow. House and moose.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's pretty wild.
It is.
And it makes you appreciate why English spellings can seem so illogical today.
They do. They really do.
Yeah, they do.
So how did this vowel shift happen?
Oh, that's the million-dollar question.
Yeah.
The exact reasons are still debated.
Still debate.
Oh, yeah. Among linguists,
Oh, okay.
some believe it was influenced by migration patterns
Okay.
and dialect mixing. Others point to more social and cultural changes
Oh, interesting.
that affected pronunciation.
Okay.
But regardless of the cause,
Yeah.
the impact of the Great Vowel Shift on the evolution of English
Yeah.
was profound.
It was huge.
It was huge.
It's crazy to think about.
It is.
I mean, if pronunciation changed so drastically,
Yeah.
why didn't the spelling adapt along the way?
That's a good question.
Wouldn't that make things easier
It would seem like it would.
for everyone?
Right.
Right.
But language evolution isn't always
I guess not.
logical or efficient.
It's not, no.
No, sometimes historical quirks,
Yeah.
like those Norman spellings,
Way to stick around.
stick around.
With that.
Yeah.
Wow.
But, it's not just historical events that shape language.
What else?
We're living in an era of rapid technological advancement.
They are. Yes.
and the internet
Yeah.
is having a huge impact on how English is evolving
Like every day.
every day.
There's new words and new
Right.
phrases,
Right,
new
yeah.
acronyms.
Right.
It's amazing.
Oh, absolutely.
Like selfie.
Selfie, hashtag.
Yeah, sure.
Like, these have become part of
Everyday
our
vocabulary.
everyday vocabulary.
It's incredible.
It's crazy.
And the way we use words like viral
Viral, yeah.
has completely transformed.
Really, yeah.
It's really fascinating.
It is.
So this raises an interesting question.
Okay.
Is this rapid pace of change unique to our time?
That is a good question.
Or has English always been this adaptable?
I mean, considering how much it's been shaped by things like,
Yeah.
the Norman Conquest
Right.
and the Great Vowel Shift,
Right, exactly.
I feel like maybe this adaptability is kind of just
It's in its DNA.
built into its DNA, yeah.
I think you're right.
You think so?
I do. English has this long history
Yeah.
of borrowing words and phrases.
From other languages, yeah. From other languages and adapting to fit new situations.
So it's like this,
It's a chameleon.
yeah, like a chameleon. And
Right,
that
sure,
flexibility, I mean, it's really helped it
Oh, absolutely.
achieve this global reach
Global reach, yeah.
that it has.
For sure.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
But what about English grammar?
Oh, grammar.
Yeah, so I've always found it interesting
Okay.
that word order in English,
Yeah.
it's not as strict
Right.
as it is in some other languages.
You're right. English does allow for some flexibility
It does.
when it comes to word order.
Okay.
However, it's still primarily
Primarily
a
observed.
subject-verb-object language.
Okay.
So that basic structure
Still there.
provides a framework,
Okay.
but within that framework, there's room for
Variation.
variation and nuance.
So, like, what do you find intriguing about this flexibility in your own communication?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
I think it makes English a very expressive language.
Uh-huh.
You can play with the word order to emphasize certain points,
Yeah.
or you can create specific effects.
Oh, that's cool.
It is.
Yeah.
It's very versatile.
It is very versatile. Yeah.
And this flexibility, I mean,
Yeah.
it makes English really well suited for things like
Like what?
poetry,
Oh, yeah.
songwriting,
Yeah.
where you can kind of bend the rules
Bend the rules a little bit.
a little bit to create rhythm or...
Yeah. Emotional impact.
Yeah, I like that.
It's powerful.
It is.
And speaking of bending the rules,
Yeah.
let's talk about
Idioms.
idioms.
Idioms, yes.
Okay, yeah, they're like these quirky, often nonsensical phrases.
I love idioms.
I do too.
They're so fun.
But like, who came up with kick the bucket?
I know, right?
What does that even mean?
It's so strange when you think about it.
It is, yeah.
But they add so much personality to the language.
They do.
Idioms are fascinating.
They are.
They often reflect cultural values,
Okay.
historical events, or even just a particular way of looking at the world.
Oh, interesting.
Can you imagine trying to explain spill the beans
Yeah.
or bite the bullet
Yeah.
to someone learning English for the first time?
Oh my gosh, yeah.
That's
I mean,
hilarious.
it would be hilarious,
Yeah,
right?
it would.
But that's what makes idioms so fun.
They're fun, yeah.
They're like little puzzles
Yeah,
that offer a glimpse into the culture and history of the language.
totally.
For example, the ball is in your court.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
a common idiom.
It's idiom, yeah.
It implies this sort of agency and responsibility.
Okay.
So it's like suggesting that the next move is up to the other person.
Yeah, I see that.
So it's not just about like a game.
No.
It's about life.
Yeah.
It's really interesting.
It is interesting how they kind of have these...
Subtle meanings woven into them.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. So what about you?
Me.
Yeah.
I think I really like break the ice
Oh, break the ice.
because it's just such a concise way
Yeah.
to describe.
Starting a conversation.
Yeah.
Or easing tension in a
Yeah.
social situation.
It's a good one. Break the ice.
It's good, right?
I like that.
Yeah.
What about you?
Do you have a favorite idiom from our conversation?
Hmm.
I mean, besides break the ice, which I do think is a great choice
It's a good one, yeah.
because it captures that initial awkwardness we often feel.
Yeah.
And the need to kind of find common ground.
Right.
I think my favorite
Yeah.
might be spill the beans
Spill the bees.
because it's such
It's
a
a classic.
it's a classic and
Yeah.
it's just such a vivid and playful way to describe revealing a secret.
It is.
It always makes me smile.
It's amazing how much you can learn about a language and like
Yeah.
the people who speak it
Oh, yeah.
just by exploring these quirky expressions.
Absolutely.
Like each idiom has its own little story,
Its own little story waiting to be told.
waiting to be told.
Exactly.
That's really cool.
It is cool.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, me too. I love languages.
Me too. They're so fascinating.
They are. They really are. You know, it's funny.
What's that?
We've been talking about all these seemingly random quirks of English,
Right.
like silent letters
Hmm.
and idioms,
Yeah, those are good ones.
but like they all add up
They really do.
to paint this incredible picture
Of
of how language evolves.
It's amazing, right?
Yeah, it's
Kind
like piecing together this giant, ever-changing puzzle.
That's a great analogy. I like that.
And you know, one of the most remarkable pieces of this puzzle
Yeah.
is how English
Became a global language.
became a global language.
It's amazing.
It is. We touched on this earlier a little bit.
Yeah, we did.
But I'm curious to hear your thoughts on like
Okay.
how English achieved such widespread adoption.
Okay. Yeah.
Do you think its flexibility and adaptability
Sure.
played a role?
I think those qualities were definitely significant.
Okay.
You know, English has this incredible ability
Yeah.
to absorb new words and concepts
From all over. Yeah.
from other languages, and that makes it relatively easy
Yeah.
to incorporate into different cultural contexts.
Right. It's very
I mean, that's not something
exclusive.
inclusive, yeah.
It weighs.
It is. It's very welcoming.
Of course, you know, historical factors,
Well, right.
colonization,
Yeah.
and trade also played a huge part
A huge part.
in spreading English around the world.
Absolutely. I mean, English spread through colonial expansion.
Yeah.
And, you know, even as those colonies gained independence,
Yeah.
English often remained a key language for government,
Right.
education, commerce,
It's like this, like a chain reaction
chain reaction.
across history.
Across history, yeah.
It's really interesting to think about
It is.
all the different factors that contributed.
And then, as we were saying earlier,
Uh-huh.
English became like the dominant language
Yeah.
of science,
So science, yeah.
technology,
And even entertainment.
entertainment, right. It's everywhere.
It really is.
It's amazing.
It solidified its global status.
It really has.
Yeah, it's like the lingua franca of the world.
The lingua franca, I like that.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's a complex web of historical, cultural,
Yeah.
and economic
And
factors.
all these things together.
All these things have led to English becoming
Yeah.
such a widespread language.
Amazing.
It really is.
But what about the future?
Oh, the future. That's a great question.
Do you think English will continue to evolve
Mhm.
at this rate?
At this rate.
Or will it eventually, like, stabilize?
That is the million-dollar question, isn't it?
It is.
I mean, it's a question that's probably crossed everyone's mind at some point.
Probably, yeah.
Like, what does the future hold?
Yeah, I mean, what do you think?
Yeah.
What do you think the future holds for the English language?
Well, you know, if history is any indication,
Yeah.
English will undoubtedly continue to evolve.
It will. Yeah, it has to.
I mean, think about it.
Okay.
New technologies are emerging all the time. Social movements are like reshaping our values.
Yeah, they
Cultural trends are constantly shifting.
Totally.
All of these forces are going to leave their mark on language.
It's true.
So we'll almost certainly see new words emerge.
Okay. Yeah.
Existing words will probably take on new meanings.
They already are.
They already are,
Ooh,
exactly.
yeah.
And we may even see some shifts in grammatical structures
Interesting.
over time.
So, like, grammar rules could change.
It's possible.
Wow.
It's exciting to think about.
It is exciting.
Like what English will sound like in 100 years.
Yeah.
It really is like this living, breathing entity
Breathing.
that just keeps pace with the world around it.
Yeah, it really does.
And you know what's really cool is that as speakers of English,
Uh-huh.
we're all part of that evolution.
We are.
Every time we use language,
Yeah.
we're contributing to its future
In little ways.
in subtle ways. Yeah.
It's crazy.
It is. It's really powerful when you think about it.
It is powerful.
It makes you realize that language isn't just a tool
It's not just a tool.
for communication.
It's more than that.
It's a reflection of who we are
Who we are.
as individuals
Right.
and as a society.
Wow. Yeah.
It's constantly evolving, adapting,
Yeah.
mirroring the changes
Mirroring. Yeah.
happening all around us.
I like that. It's like a mirror
It is
reflecting who we are.
absolutely.
And speaking of which, I
Yeah.
wanted to touch on something we mentioned earlier, which
Yeah.
is like the incredible diversity
Oh, yeah.
of the English language.
Amazing.
I mean, it's amazing to think about how English has just incorporated, absorbed
Mm.
all these influences from so many other languages.
It's true. It's like this
It's like a linguistic mosaic.
a linguistic mosaic
So what each piece,
represents a different cultural influence.
or different historical event.
Or historical event, yeah.
And that diversity.
Yeah.
I mean, it's reflected not only in the language itself,
Oh, absolutely.
but also in like,
The people who speak it.
yeah, the vast number of people who speak it.
Yeah, that's a great point.
It's kind of crazy when you think about it.
It is.
How many people around the world speak English?
Yeah, it's mind-blowing.
It's a lot of people.
It is a lot of people.
And,
Yeah.
I think that interconnectedness is part of what makes English so compelling.
Oh, absolutely.
It's constantly changing.
Constantly changing.
It's constantly adapting.
Adapting.
And it's bringing people together.
Bringing people together. It's
Yeah.
a really beautiful thing.
It is. It's like this shared experience
Yeah,
that like millions of people participate in.
Millions, billions maybe.
Millions of people,
It's a lot of people.
regardless of where they come from,
That's right. It transcends borders. It connects people from different cultures.
different backgrounds.
Backgrounds.
It really does.
In a way that few other languages can.
I know.
It's really special.
Yeah, it is. It's like this common thread.
A common thread that binds us all together.
And it reflects the dynamism and diversity
It really does.
of like the human experience itself.
The human experience, exactly.
And it's a testament
to what?
to our ability to communicate,
Communicate, yeah.
to connect, to create
Yeah.
shared meaning,
Shared meaning.
even across like vast cultural differences.
Which is just incredible
It is incredible.
when you think about it.
It is.
We've covered so much ground in this deep dive.
We have.
I mean, from the origins of English
Yeah, we've talked about a lot.
to its global reach
To its
and ongoing evolution.
ongoing evolution, yeah.
I mean, there's always more to discover.
There is. Always.
But I feel like we've given our listener a lot to consider.
We have.
We have.
I think so.
I hope this deep dive inspires them
To what?
to keep exploring the world of language.
Yeah, to keep learning.
Keep learning on their own because
It's a journey.
it's a journey that never truly ends.
It doesn't.
It's so fascinating.
It is.
And, before we wrap things up, I think we should leave our listener
With what?
with something to ponder.
Okay, yeah, a final thought
A final thought.
to kind of like chew on.
Chew on, yeah.
So we've explored how English has evolved over centuries.
We have.
But what about the future?
The future, that's a great question.
What forces do you think will shape how we communicate
Yeah, that's a big one.
in the years to come?
It's hard to say for sure, right?
It is. Yeah.
The future is unpredictable,
Yeah.
but it's exciting to think about the possibilities.
I mean, it's mind-boggling to think about
What is?
how technology has already transformed the way we communicate.
It has, hasn't it?
I mean, just look at
Emojis.
the rise of emojis and internet slang.
Oh, yeah, all the new slang.
I mean, what happens when things like
Like what?
artificial intelligence
AI.
and VR
Oh, yeah.
become even more
Integrated.
integrated into our lives?
Yeah. I mean,
Will they like
Yeah.
create entirely new forms of language?
that's a question that linguists are really grappling with right now.
They are.
Oh, yeah, it's a hot topic.
What are they saying?
Well, they're trying to figure out,
Yeah,
will AI assistants, develop their own dialects?
that would be wild.
It would be wild, right?
Yeah.
And will we need new ways to communicate in virtual worlds?
Oh, yeah.
You know?
I mean, it's certainly a possibility.
It is. It's definitely possible. It's
Yeah.
exciting to think about.
It is exciting, yeah.
And what about the role of global interconnectedness?
Global interconnectedness, yeah.
So we're already seeing, a blending of languages and cultures
Online, yeah.
online. Yeah.
I mean, could that lead to
Yeah.
the emergence of new hybrid languages in the future?
It's possible.
It's amazing to consider all the possibilities.
It is. And, perhaps the most intriguing aspect of all of this
Yeah.
is that we can't fully predict how English will evolve.
We can't. No.
Language is a living system.
Yeah.
It's shaped by countless factors.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the future of English.
Yeah.
It's in our hands.
Wow, that's a powerful thought.
It is. It's pretty amazing when you think about it.
So if we could offer our listener one piece of advice,
Some parting words of wisdom.
it would be
What would it be?
pay attention
Pay attention, yeah.
to the language you use
Yeah.
and encounter
In your daily life.
in your daily life.
Just notice.
Yeah, yeah.
The subtle shifts in meaning.
Yeah.
The new words that pop up.
Right.
The creative ways people are kind of
Bending the rules.
bending the rules of grammar and syntax.
You might be surprised
Oh, absolutely.
by what you discover.
You might even invent the next selfie.
Or hashtag.
Exact.
It's happening right now.
The future of English.
The future of English is being shaped.
As we speak.
As we speak.
And we're all a part of it.
Yeah, we're all participants.
We're all participants in this grand linguistic experiment.
That's a great way to put it.
It is pretty cool, right?
Yeah.
So embrace the ever-evolving nature of language.
Embrace it, yeah.
Be curious.
Be playful.
Be playful.
And never stop exploring the fascinating world of words.
That's a perfect note to end on.
I think so, too.
Thanks for joining us.
On this deep dive
Into the English language.
It's been fun.
We hope you've enjoyed.
Yeah, we hope you learned something.
Exploring its rich history.
Its quirks.
Its quirks and complexity.
And its boundless potential.
Boundless potential for the future.
It's exciting to think about where it's going to go next.
It is. It really is.
Until next time.
Happy speaking, everyone.